How would I describe Elastica to you? Horrible question.
Cool.
Oh, we're really great. That's my one.
I've had a sort of lifelong obsession with Adam Ant. I really, really wanted to meet him, and I got Damon to give him a CD of Line-Up at the EMI conference, and I saw him walking down the road in Primrose Hill and screeched my car to a halt and jumped out. I went up to him. I went up to him and said, "Oh, do you want a lift?" And he was like, "No, not really," kind of thing. Yeah, I was just like...
Totally cluttered him in the street, scared the shit out of him.
I saw him from like 200 yards and knew it was him. I was like, fucking hell, it's Adam Ant. And it was my birthday, and I screeched my car to a halt first of all and thought, I can't do this, and bottled out. And then about 2 minutes later, I thought, fuck it, it's my birthday. And went up to him again, and I was just like, oh, hi, you know. And then I went, oh, my name's Justine. And he was totally looking like, oh no, I really don't want to speak to this strange fan.
Yeah, we are the Fall, and we are the best. Yeah, we are the Fall, and we are the best. Yeah, we are the Fall, and we are the best.
So, know what I was thinking? Dave Bush is in a very unique position of being one of the only band members to leave the Fall and to join a band that is more famous chart-wise, more successful chart-wise than the band. And that's just really kind of a weird situation for him. I mean, in a good way that he like leveled up. He obviously wanted to stay with the Fall, but it's kind of weird to be like, oh, I'm going to be in the band that actually has more mainstream recognition. So Dave Bush joined Elastica in I think somewhere in 1996.
Yeah.
And he was with them until, 2002 or when they wrapped up the project. But Elastica is a band that only had 2 albums and an EP and also a compilation album. But they were basically a studio band that worked long months and months in the studio, and they produced a couple albums. And today we're going to be listening to the Elastica 6-track EP from August 23rd, 1999. And Steve, why are we listening to this one in particular?
Well, we have an ex-Fall member and a current Fall member on this EP. We have our friend Dave Bush back with his keyboards this time. He put the machines away.
Yep.
But we have the one and only Marky Smith on 2 tracks on this EP.
Yeah, very unique, very interesting. We get Marky Smith, and we thought this would be the choice cut, even though, Dave is on the Menace LP by Elastica from 2000, but we thought this would be the choice cut where we get a little Mark cameo on a couple tracks, and also in theme, lyrically, a lot of Mark, little nods. And this is a band that I don't know about you, Steve, but I wasn't really familiar with at all. I know Suede. I listened to Suede, and Justine Frischman and as well as the drummer Justin Welsh. They were both in Suede, and they left Suede and started this band. And it's kind of a cool, interesting band where I originally not knowing the band and just seeing Elastica a lot, even, if we're looking at we're looking at a lot of festival posters and things like that from the era of the Fall, and Elastica's name is like on a lot of that stuff in the 90s. Like for a band that only had one album out, they were really riding the wave of, Suede and their own stuff. So it's
Yeah,
kind
I
of
mean,
interesting
they were their Elastica and their debut album. I mean, it hit #1, and it
in the
was
UK.
in the
Yeah,
UK, and it was the top most grossing for 10 years running.
it was. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
until I think what is it? Where did I read it? Oh, I think that until the Arctic Monkeys came in 2006,
Wow, that is wild. I would have never guessed that. I mean,
beating
it
out
would,
beating
yeah,
out Oasis.
yeah, and that and just I guess Justine and Oasis had a little bit of a rivalry, and I think it was due to that, both of them being in the spotlight. Because I think she said something along the lines of like Oasis's music is, I'm just paraphrasing, but it's like some of the most uninspired music I've listened to in a long time. And then of course like Noel Gallagher or Liam was like, man, has she listened to her own album?
Ah,
Like they're just going back and forth at each
sure.
other. But I mean, when you're at that level, and this is like certified gold record sales, in the US and Canada and the UK, of course. But it's really interesting because that album, Elastica, self-titled 1995, is it's more rockin' than I thought. I thought it was going to be a little bit more electronic, just I don't know. Something with the name and something with the look that I've seen the band, like the picture of them, it just had like a electronic feel, but it is more rockin'. It's so guitar driven.
I mean, I guess just our Americans is coming out
Yeah.
because, it was unfamiliar to me. Yeah, the name you had heard it, but yeah, I couldn't place a song. And then yeah, just playing this EP, I was pleasantly surprised. You look at what they are, and you got Britpop, post punk, new wave.
Mm,
I mean, I think the Britpop and the new wave is kind of where I was placing them into
mhm.
that early '90s, just kind of drony, maybe some electronic music added. I mean, the keyboards weren't added until Dave Bush came in.
Yeah, yeah,
So yeah, I mean, they were just a rock band.
yeah, and they even say that their influence was The Fall and The Wire, like, are 2 of their main influences, so you can see where they're trying to kinda pull those
Yeah,
influences and sounds. It's also just such a 1995, I hate to say it, it's, like, such a cop out, but it's such a 1995 radio sound that that album has, and that's why I'm actually excited that today we're listening to the EP that where Dave Bush is basically introduced and adding some kind of textures and tones, because I think it does make it a little bit outside of the norm, which also probably explains why it didn't probably sell as much as the LP. So we got 6 tracks, and we got the very creatively named titled EP, the 6-track EP, and we got couple other players on this album. We have, at the time, Elastica was including Paul Jones, Sharon Mew, Annie Holland, Sheila Chipperfield, and of course the mainstays throughout the whole Elastica career, Justine Fishman and Justin Welch. So Steve, I don't know if there's much else to cover because I think we should just get into the sounds, and we're going to listen to, along with our Patreon fall heads, the full tracks to get the full vibe of this EP. Let's just, get right into it and see where it goes. And we're going to lead off with the one and only track that is titled after a fall track and also includes the lead singer of the fall, Mr. Marky Smith.
how he wrote Elastica, man.
How he wrote it, mate. Whoa. What are you feeling about that, Steve, as a lead-off track and with the introduction of Marquis Smith in as a collaborator?
I mean, I loved his addition, his vocal. Yeah, obviously he sounds like Marky Smith anytime he opens his mouth, and
It sure does.
it adds some salt and pepper to the track. And I
Mhm.
mean, I think they were really going for a fall knockoff, so it fit my ear
Yeah.
well. But
Yeah. Yeah.
call and response and everything was
Mhm.
there.
Mhm. The keyboard, I think even Dave Bush is leaning into the early fall sound and getting some of that keyboard vibe of the early fall. It sounds cool. Even the way that track leads off, right? It leads off with a tape recording lo-fi little nugget in there, and that's just like very much as we know of a fall thing to do, right? Put in something in there that's like a little bit of an artifact from some other thing and then just rip into the main song. Yeah, I like it. I like that the guitars are a bit more heavy than the Elastica. Mark doing the lyrics that are kind of a scatter shot. He's like some at one point he's just like magazine, you know, just
Yeah.
like pop it in there, giving you the random words that are good. I guess the backstory of this is Dave Bush was like with Elastica, and in some way Mark's name came up. And I think they were like, maybe he's in like the studio nearby or doing something nearby. And they were like, Dave, do you think you could get Mark to come over here and help and and be on one of our tracks or something, or maybe just stop by or whatever and get like listen to our track? And Dave's like, if you get some speed over here or some cocaine, he's like, he'll be over here. He's like, just he's like, you just got to make sure you get. And then they're like, oh, can you get some of that for us? And so it turns out the mission was successful and they got Mark to be on two tracks, which is, a bonus. So they must have got a nice, healthy supply for the session.
I
Mhm.
always wonder, was he just like always stocked up on his supply, or was he scrounging around looking for it?
Yeah, I mean, I think there
Free is always better than having to use your own, but
I think there is like another backstory, which I don't know if it was in this instance, maybe it was, where Mark was also just like, crawling around on the carpet trying to get the last,
yeah.
yeah, little bits, which, you don't want to hear, but that might be the creative juice that you just need that little extra. Okay, so let's get into that's a great lead off how he wrote Elastica Man, and now we're gonna get into something completely different, which is a home demo, Donna's home demo called Nothing Stays the Same.